I said, with Northern Ave, we can be really creative and innovative. This is not simply just building a bridge. This is making a connection. This is connecting all of our city. It's something that people, when they come to our city, should want to have to see what the Northern Ave Bridge will look like. And that's really what we want to see here. And this is your city. I might be the mayor of this city, but it's your city, and I think it's important for us as we move forward to do more competitions like this and more conversations like this, because it brings out the best. It brings out the best in all of us.
On behalf of the Boston Society of Architects and the BSA Foundation, I welcome you to the BSA space. Our vision is to build a better Boston by engaging communities, inspiring vision, and provoking positive change. The BSA has proposed that there are two essential requirements for the best direction forward for the Northern Avenue Bridge. The first is an inclusive and conclusive public process that allows alternatives to be proposed and evaluated. The second is a commitment to superb design so that bold forms and engaging spaces will bring this corner of the city to life. Together, they will give Boston the Northern Avenue Bridge it deserves. 2 months ago, in this very room, the BSA joined the City of Boston in launching the Northern Avenue Bridge Ideas Competition. That event was moderated by the Boston Globe columnist Dante Ramos, who is here, and has written that the historic Northern Avenue Bridge is in tough shape now, but it sits at a crucial juncture between downtown and the booming Seaport District. Boston can't afford to screw up this crucial link. The quote continues, "If the city follows the path of least resistance, it'll tear down the iconic bridge and replace it with a utilitarian vehicular bridge like the Evelyn Moakley, a block to the south. Alternatively, Mayor Marty Walsh could leave behind a rehabilitated structure that becomes a signature attraction of its own. To make that happen, the city needs to commit right now to a broader creative vision of what the bridge could mean for Boston." Thank you to so many in this room for sharing your visions. We received 133 competition entries, 99 graphic submissions, and 34 essays that offer a tremendous range of ideas for how to honor history, improve mobility, and create an incredible destination. Here, I'm going to just show you a quick sample to whet your appetite. All right, so this one, very catchy title. Just save the effing bridge already. So this, we thought, captured and acknowledged some of the frustration of watching the bridge decay for how many years until we got to this point. And so while that scheme maybe left some other things to be desired, we love the title. Many of these visions had tremendous renderings, and the talent shown there was incredible and really showed the activity and vibrancy that people wanted to bring to the bridge. And yet also, there were sketches like this that we looked at with the same caring and priority as those super snazzy renderings, because really we were focused on the ideas and not the presentation. And speaking of ideas, there was also essays. And for example, this one, really focusing on how a program for the bridge might bring it to life and keep that industrial waterfront fishing economy going. Or this one, the idea that lighting and the experience of the bridge at night is an important thing for the city to think about going forward. This one, because it actually allowed all sorts of modes of transportation going across it. And then lastly, this one, the importance of program and getting people to some sort of destination. This one was kind of the extreme in terms of program. We called it the Coney Island scheme. So, Mayor Walsh, we are so pleased to welcome you this evening to lead this discussion about a broader creative vision. Everyone, please join me in welcoming Mayor Martin J. Walsh.
I want to thank you in the Boston Society of Architects for hosting us tonight and all your great work. I also want to just recognize a few other people. Chris Osgood, Chief of Streets. I want to thank Chris for being here today, and folks from Public Works and Transportation and the Boston Redevelopment Authority. We're also joined by Austin Blackman, Chief of Environment and Energy, who's here somewhere right here. Thank you, Austin. I want to thank whose district this bridge is in, and I think we're actually in right now, and that's City Councilor Billy Lenahan. I want to thank Billy Lenahan for being here. I want to thank all the jurors who had to go through all these unbelievable ideas and pick some winners. And I want to congratulate you as well and thank you for your support. I want to thank all the participants who got involved in this exciting project. And it is different. It's outside the box, and I appreciate it. I want to thank Dante Ramos, who where is he? I saw him here a minute ago. Is he still here? He's right there. I was surprised to read the Globe was actually giving me an idea what to do, but thank you very much for that. I normally don't get that. I appreciate it, but I want to thank Dante as well because I think it's important. His article really captured what we have to start thinking in Boston, thinking outside the box in some ways, and thinking of ways to be creative. And I think this is one of the ways that we really can do it. So I want to thank you. This competition certainly was exciting, innovative, and engaging to the public in so many different ways, as a lot of people know. Over the last 3 months, over 130 people were part of this conversation about really looking at what the future of the bridge should look like. That's an amazing response, and it's something that we're used to seeing in City Hall. When we did Go Boston, Rick Dimino did Go Boston 2030, he said, I think he's still here, he said that right in front of me, he said that over 5,000 people got involved in a conversation. He said he's been doing transportation his entire life, and he's never seen a process where over 5,000 people got involved in the conversation. And truly, that's what it's all about. It's getting more people engaged, more people in the process, really thinking about what the future should look like. And I want to thank everyone in this room and everyone who couldn't make it tonight for your great work. The essays and the renderings of the vision of this bridge really were incredible. And I want to thank you. And I can't say thank you enough to people because this is exciting. It is thinking outside the box. The theme was mobility, destination, history, something that we look at ways, how do we speak of the Northern NABB Bridge, which obviously is an introduction into the South Boston Waterfront. And it's a way that we're going to continue to look at designing and how we do great things. Northern NABB Bridge is more than a bridge, it's a connector. It connects the downtown to the South Boston Waterfront. It's a connection to the Greenway, the 4-Point Channel, the Harbor Walks. There's so many real connections here with it. It connects our community, our design community, also our business and retailers. Really incredible. There's a new development going on in the South Boston Waterfront that's going to bring some new exciting retailers to our city. This is just another one of those ways to connect the people of our city to all the excitement that's going on in our city. The Northern NABB Bridge is a major part of the history of our city. In its heyday, it was a bridge in one of the most innovative design cities in America. It showed Boston's leadership in industrial growth, and it also was an important part of our future as well. We were going to bring innovation to this bridge by, again, investing in creativity and resiliency, particularly in the design. This contest, though, represents something much larger than that. It represents building infrastructure. It represents a vision for a thriving, healthy, and innovative city. And when we talk about planning our city in Imagine Boston 2030, it really is about what should we see in our city and how should we do it. And it's something that we're excited about. I spent this weekend in Las Vegas. We had the Recon Convention where we had retailers and developers from all over Massachusetts. They're all over the country, really, but the ones from Massachusetts. And the biggest question I kept being asked by retailers from all over the country was what's going on with the Northern NABB Bridge. And I swear to God. And I was saying to them that, well, we're in the midst of a design right now competition to look at what some great ideas could happen. And they said, well, explain to me more about this design competition. And at the time I said, we have 100 plus people, 100 plus ideas about coming in, talking about what the bridge should look like. Well, why is that the case? I said, because we're connecting what used to be the historic South Boston Waterfront, where we had a lot of manufacturing and fish processing and fish stores and a lot of things going on. And now we have a lot of innovation and design and creativity, which is the same thing, but 100 years later, different type of industries, to the financial district, which used to connect to the southern artery, which was above ground, but now it's underground. And I said, it's really an opportunity here to be creative. And so they were pretty excited about it. And, I built it up pretty good too. So they were really excited. They were really excited about it. But I'm excited. I really am. When Michael Dennehy came to me, and Tamara came to me about a year and a half ago and said that this is on the heels of the Long Island Bridge being closed down. They said we have to open the bridge because it's too dangerous for pedestrians to walk on. And we started to think, and Billy Linehan was the president of the council at that point, and we started to talk about that we really have to look at our own infrastructure inside the city of Boston. But we said to Billy, and Billy agreed and was part of it. I said, with Northern Ave, we can be really creative and innovative. This is not simply just building a bridge. This is making a connection. This is connecting all of our city. It's something that people, when they come to our city, should want to have to see what the Northern Ave Bridge will look like. And that's really what we want to see here. And I'm excited about it. I want to congratulate all the people who will be winners tonight, but also thank you for getting involved. This is your city. I might be the mayor of this city, but it's your city, and I think it's important for us as we move forward to do more competitions like this and more conversations like this, because it brings out the best. It brings out the best in all of us. The last thing I'll say is Tamara was talking about the Moakley Bridge. I would just be careful because Joe Moakley would be really upset. Joe Moakley thinks that's thought that was the most beautiful bridge because it was named after his beautiful wife. But when you think about what we can do, is there an opportunity? And I think some of these designs have a connection there, and you can look at connecting kind of what might be the modern to something that we might do, a little bit of historic, a little bit of modern, a little bit of everything. So there's some great opportunities. Again, thank you very much. Thank you for all your help.
Thank you so much, Mayor. It is my honor to introduce the 16-member jury that wrestled with, debated, reviewed the 133 fantastic submissions that we got from across the city. So I'm going to list them all, and then I'm going to call up some of the jury members to talk about some of the specific ideas that really came out of the competition that they wanted to highlight, and then we'll get into the announcement of the winners. So our jury was Ken Bailey, the principal at the Design Studio for Social Intervention; Julie Burrows, Mayor Walsh's Chief of Arts and Culture; Dan Byers, the Senior Curator at the ICA; Rick Dimino, the President of A Better City; Handy Dorcius, Senior at Boston Latin Academy; Greg Gaylor, the Executive Director of the Boston Preservation Alliance; Susan Goldberg from the U.S. District Court of Massachusetts; Gary Hildebrand, a Principal at Reed Hildebrand; Parajaya Singh, the Chief Engineer for the Boston Public Works Department; Jennifer Mecca, the President of the Fort Point Artist Community; Grace Law, the Principal at Law Dahlman and the Director of Architecture at the Graduate School of Design at Harvard; Sarah Meyerson, the Director of Planning for the Boston Redevelopment Authority; Tamara Roy, who you heard from, the President of the Boston Society of Architects; Josiah Stevenson, the Principal at Lears Weinzoffel; and Julie Wormser, the Executive Director of the Boston Harbor Association. So thank you so much to the fantastic 16-member jury we had. As the mayor and Tamara both mentioned, there were a set of themes that we asked people to respond to. The challenge of improving mobility, of creating a destination, and of honoring history. So I'm going to call up three folks who want to talk a little bit more about each of those themes and some of the ideas that really emerged out of the 133 submissions, and that's Rick Dimino, Greg Gaylor, and Handy Dorcia. So I'll turn it over to them to talk about what they heard from this effort.
Mayor, again, thank you so much for bringing us all together and really giving us a great opportunity for public engagement. As you were saying, this is one of the most creative opportunities. You've asked me and asked others to engage the public, and as you were saying before, the door relative to City Hall has never been so open. I really appreciate that, because all of us, and your opportunity to have us be part of the idea of shaping city policy and decisions has just been tremendous. So thank you so much. So, yeah, it's funny that I'm here talking about mobility. I don't know why. But anyway, I do talk about this quite often, and the mayor has Chris and I, and he's got such a great team at Public Works and Transportation, and Commissioner Fiandaca, are constantly talking about the interrelationship between the South Boston Waterfront, the financial district, and then the rest of the world, because the South Boston Waterfront happens to be the strongest economic center in Massachusetts. It's been driving economic growth in the metropolitan region in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts for years. Since the year 2000 and 2013, it's grown by over 10 million square feet. The notion of connectivity between the region, the Commonwealth, and the city and our neighborhoods to the South Boston Waterfront is very important. Recently, we anticipated 63% more trips because there's going to be 17 million square feet of development and going into that area. 67% of them want to be on transit. But still, at the end of the day, when the mayor travels all the way to the western side of the United States, they ask him about the Northern Avenue Bridge. And that's pretty important because the Northern Avenue Bridge really is much more than about connectivity. Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about connectivity. As the mayor was saying, it's really much more. It's a symbol. It's a gateway. It's based on the kind of great creative applications that we got to see, is really much more special and near and dear to our hearts, and the innovation and creativity that came from all the applicants. The Northern Avenue Bridge, from a transportation and functionality standpoint, really speaks to a bunch of kinds of things. Its history. The Northern Avenue Bridge was like the premier kind of mobility asset. It did rail, it did vehicles, it did trucks, it opened so the water transportation could happen. I mean, it really did. It was, while it was incredibly well designed and innovative, and while its design speaks to this great industrial richness, it really was the heart of connectivity in the old days to the waterfront. But when we built the Moakley Bridge, and we built the Seaport Access Road, and we strengthened and widened bridges like the Summer Street Bridge and the Congress Street Bridge, we found other ways to deal with the burdens of transportation. And then the Northern Avenue Bridge became, again, this special kind of gateway that now is still ahead of us for us to figure out and shape. So its relationship to transportation now speaks mostly to pedestrians and bicycles. There are some other important things we need to think about relative to mobility. One of those things happens to be the important relationship to our federal courthouse, which is a certain priority, and we need to think about emergency access and egress relative to that courthouse. One of the things that came out of the South Boston Transportation Plan was the notion of shuttle and consolidated bus service and the possibility of maybe this bridge having some role in relationship to that, and also the relationship to maybe peak hour traffic. But really, at the end of the day now, the bridge is less about mobility relative to those type of connections, except for pedestrians and bikes, but more about this kind of special purpose, destination quality connection relative to our future, and also recognizes our past. And again, many of the design opportunities presented that. You can see some of them here. They're tremendous. And again, I want to thank the mayor for inviting the BSA and us as jurists to participate in this process. And we'll move on to our next topic, which is history.
Hi, I'm Greg Gaylor, Executive Director of the Preservation Alliance. I, too, want to thank Mayor Walsh and City Hall for finally engaging the bridge. It's a can that's been kicked down the road far too long, and at this point, one more kick, and there's not going to be any can left. In fact, I looked in the files of the Preservation Alliance, and we have documents going back to the 1970s trying to deal with the solution to the bridge. So we know the Northern Avenue Bridge is a Boston icon, and particularly of Fort Point. It was built in 1908, and it's a rare type of bridge, perhaps unique in the country in various aspects. It's listed on the National Register of Historic Places, and there's little doubt about the significant contribution it's made to the city for over a century. From its critical role in Boston's industrial history when freight of wool and sugar and other goods moved both through the bridge on boats or over it in trains and carts, as Rick mentioned, to recent times when it served as an integral transportation route for pedestrians and bicyclists, the bridge has been part and parcel of what it means to be a Bostonian. So therefore, it's no wonder that the bridge has endured despite threats and challenges for decades. And it's no wonder that the city, going back actually to Mayor White, a few mayors before you, made commitments to preserve it, and various efforts to remove the bridge have been rebuffed. The Alliance and a wide range of preservationists, walking and biking advocates, and folks from the neighborhood were pleased when honoring history was therefore an integral part of this competition. However, I have to admit that the process didn't come without concerns. Crazy, wild, and new designs seemed like they would dominate the submissions. I mean, designers want to design, right? So the process, interestingly, didn't result that way, despite the fact that this diverse and large group felt that some form of preservation solution would be the way to go. It was interesting to see that repairing the bridge in some form, keeping some elements, would float to the top. So out of the 133 entries, it's amazing how significant many of the solutions kept significant elements of the bridge in one creative form or another. And of the finalists, actually all but one have some element of the historic bridge maintained. And I'll say, this wasn't undue pressure from me, believe me, as Donald Trump would say, believe me. But it was an open and organic dialogue of the group, and this isn't the first time this happened. Another group got together under the auspices of the city about a year ago, and the same thing happened. People came into the room with all sorts of interests and ideas, and lo and behold, solutions that preserve significant aspects of the bridge remain. So a new life for this bridge is obviously important. The bridge will inevitably morph and change to some degree or another, but it should survive. It's interesting to note also part of the discussion was, what is preservation, something I deal with day in and day out? Does enclosing the bridge in glass and preserving it as a relic do it best? Does restoring it to function again as it once did, despite the obvious need for new materials, is that a better solution? And how much should the placemaking that happens around the bridge focus on the industrial and port history of Fort Point? They are so important to the bridge's history, it seems like they should play some sort of role in its future. All healthy and good debate, but never once a significant question about the importance and significance of this bridge, not any bridge, but this bridge to the city of Boston and to this neighborhood. So thank you for listening to me. Thank you for all the people who entered, and we're looking forward to continuing to work with the city as this moves forward.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Handy Dorseas, and I don't do much public speaking, so bear with me. First, I'd like to thank the mayor for having this, giving us the opportunity to be a part of this. And I'd like to speak upon the fact that it gave me, a youth, a member of the Boston community, a place at this table in this conversation, because it usually people my age, we don't really get these opportunities, and I just like to give an ode to the fact that this is a thing that's happening, and my appreciation for that. So I'm going to be speaking upon the creating destination. So personally, when you think about a bridge, you usually think about a device to help you get from point A to point B over an obstacle. And this competition, it did that very well, and it really gave the designers the opportunity to expand upon that greatly. And I feel like the designers really did a good job challenging the idea that this bridge can be much more than just a device to get you from point A to point B. So thank you for the designers for that aspect. And to talk about some of the key highlights that the designers submitted. One of the ones that caught the jurors' eyes was this ode to old-fashioned drive-in theaters. So this is like a boat-in theater. You know, you can come in with your boat, and during the night, you can watch a movie, a friendly movie with your family or something like that. And it really talks to creating a destination, being a place more than a bridge. Another one was, this is one of the essay submissions that really spoke to me personally. It talked about creating a space where it acknowledged the resources and things that are available in the community. So the farmers, the local farmers and the local fishermen that are a part of the Seaport District, they have an opportunity to come and expand their business and, be a part of the bridge. And this was one of the designs that is a botanical garden. So this is a place where you can walk through, and it's beautiful, and it's functional year round, and it's more than just a bridge. It's a place where it's green, and it talks to. Yeah. This was one of the submissions that I liked personally a lot because it incorporated a lot of the aspects in terms of keeping the original composition of the bridge and the structure. So it pays ode to the history aspect, and it also connects the people of the district more to the waterfront. As you can see, there's small little islands that people have these little kayak taxis that they can use to get to these little islands, and it really creates a space where the people can get really close to the waterfront and be more a part of the Seaport District. And also there's an amphitheater where live performances can take place, and you can also have that movie aspect there too. As a reference to the Coney Island aspect, this bridge is a place that can be heavily programmed, and this, as was said before, is one of the extreme versions of that. And we really appreciate that because it just goes to show how this place can be much more than just a bridge. And yeah. And now we can move forward to the winners.
Rick and Greg and Henny, thank you so much. I'm now going to invite Josiah Stevenson, who will announce the first winner.
So the first awardee goes to the Northern Avenue Botanical Bridge, which I think a botanical garden anywhere in the city, because of our climate, would be a destination. I think a destination here especially because it links the seaport to the Greenway. It preserves the existing structure in a museum-like way. There's a glass veil that surrounds the whole thing that creates a microclimate for pedestrians, bicyclists, and plants. And it also, in the warmer months, it can open up so that the relationship between you, the person going over the bridge, and the water is a close one. So would the winner like to come up? And
So I think I'm announcing the next winner. So the next winner is the Northern Avenue Park Bridge. So the aspects that made this design rise to the top over all the others were its recognition of all three of the themes, keeping the original composition and structure of the bridge, creating a destination where pedestrians have more access to the waterfront, and also the mobility aspect and having the pedestrians, bicyclists, and emergency vehicles able to pass through. So if the winner would like to come up.
And I get to announce one of the essay winners for history, which is the Northern Avenue Bridge is Boston. And I'm going to read you a few excerpts so you get a sense of this. I don't know if your eyes are better than mine, but let me read this. The Northern Avenue Bridge is a symbol of Boston's growth and development in the 20th and 21st centuries. The steel structure made by the hands of laboring men remind us that immigrants, who are not always welcomed, built our city's modern foundation. We must honor their contribution as well as the contribution of those revolutionary thinkers who set our city up with a solid foundation. The Northern Avenue Bridge opens to let goods enter and exit the city. Is this not like the city itself? Boston is well known for being home to the Irish and Italian immigrants, but let us not forget that Boston also welcomed in free African Americans, Syrians, Chinese, Eastern European Jews, Salvadorans, Haitians, Dominicans, Colombians, and so many more. The Northern Avenue Bridge represents Boston's past, and with proper acknowledgement of where we've been, only then can we understand where we are going. Yay! Who are you?
Caitlin Moran.
The next winner is the Plus Bridge. This is the one all-new structure, which we were happy to see. Strength is in its connectivity. One leg connects the waterfront to the downtown. What's interesting about that is it goes on different levels and descends to the water, where it's a little fishing pier on the right, which is very nice. And also the other link, the plus part of the link, connects the Moakley, which is very high, all the way down to a big promontory over the harbor, which I think is really nice. And the intersection is a amphitheater, which joins the elevation very well. So, will the winner come up?
The second essay award winner is.
This was for Halloran
I'm sorry.
Halloran Union Architecture submitted this as an office. So.
All right, so I'm doing the second essay. And the second essay winner is A City in Motion Pauses. You can clap that. And I too will read a bit from this essay. The bridge is a gateway to the channel, to a new concept for Boston, a vantage point towards a section of the city where the harbor is not just something we admire from a lovely can you guys hear me? From a lovely walkway, but a living organ we can touch and tend to. The channel that carries goods from the warehouse to merchants that slough off the soil, sink in a tunnel, is our new classroom, playground, garden, and gymnasium. We loved this essay, and we felt like the aesthetics and the tone of it was so, like, I guess, inspirational for us for what the actual bridge should be. So congratulations, and let's get you up here, and here you are, and take your picture.
Colleen Dunning from Merge Architects.
So I'm presenting the final winner, and we go to honorable mentions. It's Island in the Stream, which it's hard to say without hearing the song in your head. But anyway, so this project pivots the bridge and then runs a new connection across the channel in a very simple way to take the traffic from going from point A to point B. The text of the submission was very clear and poetic. Quote, "To accept and embrace the decay of the bridge by parking it in its open position, the center span becomes a new landscape on the waterfront that doesn't interfere with the naval traffic, while at the same time being imagined as a steel skeleton that's a frame for new growth." Some of the jury comments were very funny. One of them was, "This is great for different personalities. The type A personality, the I just want to get across people, just cut on the straight line. But the type B personality, the stop and pause, or the toddler, could spend hours going around the loops on the park in the center." Other comments, "This is very fanciful. There's definitely a there and a cool destination. And it is a repurposed hybrid scheme." So congratulations to Island in the Stream.
I'm presenting the second honorable mention. Tonight it goes to Steampunk Gateway, Reimagining Boston's Marine History. This submission took a detailed look at the structural conditions of the bridge, one of the few that actually did that, and proposed some creative solutions to manage those real challenges while repairing the bridge to operating condition once again. It makes the bridge a destination by focusing on the maritime history of the channel and Boston Harbor and engaging the water, all while, quote, embracing the steampunk ethos of integrating new with old. New walkways to expanded docks, a reconstruction of the old fireboat house that was allowed to collapse into the channel decades ago, and the bridge tender's house as a destination for music, food, or retail. Meanwhile, the bridge restores mobility and the connection to the Seaport District for boots, bikes, buses, and emergency vehicles, bringing the bridge back to operating condition as many people would like to see. So thank you.
Bruce Rosenbaum from Modvic.
Mark Lansberg from MLA Consultants.
Paul Farrell from MDS Architects.
Mike Terrell, Friends of the Northern Avenue Bridge, and special thanks to Stefanov Architects.
And I'm here to present the final honorable mention of the evening, which goes to Channel Mall Station. And this one was a little unusual in what it took. While the jury recognized that this was definitely thinking outside the box and a little bit outside the site constraints, this was actually an entry that pointed out for us, we thought, some of the key pieces that need to be considered. One thing is that it addresses mobility in a broad way across the Channel District. It recognizes the 100-acre master plan and connectivity that's needed across the channel. And at the same time also recognizes the broader history of the channel because it actually repurposes the center span in a different location, recognizing a former bridge that had already disappeared on the channel. So we thought it was a good thing for us to keep in mind as we looked at the entries, particularly some of them that actually removed the bridge up at the actual site, because it actually takes that piece and repurposes it elsewhere. So thank you, and if you could come up and join us.
Thank you. Hi, thank you so much. Hi, I'm Sandra Vier from TVA Studios.
I'm Ayşegül Mutlay from Stefanov Architects.
Michael Terrell, you know me. Friends of the Northern Avenue Bridge, special thanks to Stefanov Architects.
Here you go. Congratulations.
And we also had opportunity for you to vote, for people to go to the BRA website and to say which one you wanted. And so this is the opportunity where you get to hear what you voted for, and this is the People's Choice Awards. And the winner is Pivot Point Bridge. The bridge brought a lot of the elements that we cared a lot about in terms of having a place where people could sit and read, and having opportunities for getting back and forth, and also making it a destination. And we thought it was really funny that those were the things that you cared about too. So it was quite a interesting confluence that you guys wanted this bridge. When so many of the elements in this bridge are also the things we care about too. So maybe great minds think alike, maybe. Pivot Point Bridge, come on up.
We're from Prelwitz Schlinsky Associates, and we work together as a team. I'm Emily Gojak.
Steve Bryson. Chris Baker Albert.
Erica DeRoche.
And Heng Feng.
Thank you very much.
So another round of applause for all of our winners. Absolutely fantastic. I just want to close by saying this would not be possible without a tremendous amount of work by a terrific jury. It was a great opportunity for me to be a fly on the wall during their deliberations. We also could not have put this on without a tremendous amount of hard work from some folks from Boston Redevelopment Authority and the Boston Society of Architects. I just wanted to single out a few. Gretchen Rubinkin, John Dalzell, Pratap Petros, Nick Martin, Gina Fizik, Jeff Ing, and Pernell Banks. Without them, we would not have been able to do this. And so I want to say thank you to all of you. I just want to close by saying this is the start of the conversation. All of these ideas are going to inform the design RFP, which is going to be issued through the Public Works Department over the course of the summer. We very much want your continued participation in shaping what happens to the Northern Avenue Bridge. We have been inspired by the provocative, compelling, insightful ideas that have come out of this effort. So we're very excited to the conversation that continues. Thank you so much for all of your participation, whether you submitted a design, whether you won, whether you're a member of the jury or just a spectator. And I look forward to being part of the conversation with you in the days ahead.